Hello again. Welcome back to the Move Buff Reactions channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to another one of my favorite creators to react to, The Unusual Suspect. This is the second video in this relatively new series he's put together called Every Actor In, where he goes through certain movies. So far he's only done The Phantom Menace. Today he's doing Every Actor in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and where you know them from. He goes through the whole movie, going through every actor as they appear scene by scene, and talks about how you might know them from, like, the lesser knowns, where you might know them from, and for the larger known actors, where they might have started out from in a lesser known property. And the first one I thought was pretty enjoyable. Ross, John Fernley, The Unusual Suspect, thought it might not be the best video to react to because it's mostly a listing and trivia stuff, but it was very enjoyable. I learned a few things I didn't know the first time, and you can still have moments of being funny. So, without further ado, look forward to seeing what he can dig up on the cast of Attack of the Clones. Arguably the worst film in the prequel trilogy. Like, The Phantom Menace is technically, from my point of view, bad, but it had a lot better merits, I feel, than Attack of the Clones, so let's watch.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So, first of all, thank you so much for the incredible response to my Star Wars Episode 1 video. A lot of you guys seem to really dig it, and many of you were asking me to do more. Well, let's just do that with Star Wars Episode 2. Oh, and if you're new to the channel, definitely watch the Episode 1 video I did first, because I won't be covering actors that made their debut in that movie.
Smart
I'm
move.
talk about new characters here. Also, before I begin, know that Star Wars, up till this point, was shot mostly in the UK, but for Episodes 2 and 3, production was moved to Fox Studios in Sydney. So yeah, get ready for a surprising onslaught of Aussies and Kiwis in this video. This is Every Actor in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Senator, we're making our final approach into Coruscant.
So let's start with this Naboo lieutenant who's played by English actor Steve John Shepherd. Shepherd mostly sticks to the small screen. He's probably most famous for his role as Michael Moon in EastEnders. Ever wanted to see the most...
I've heard of that show. I haven't seen it, but I've heard the name.
Well, now you have. Oh, and here he is in Layer Cake, acting alongside Daniel Craig.
Should be adorable. We were saying that they fucking junkies and crackheads. Chuck him a few quid. Don't cough.
I guess I was wrong. There was no danger at all.
So the first of many oceanic actors in this video is the diversely talented Jay Lagaya playing the role of Captain Typho. This guy is amazing. He's had a prolific acting career on New Zealand and Australian television, appearing in shows like the soap opera Home and Away.
Well, have you asked yourself?
Yes. And all the answers I come up with involve you.
Here he is playing the warlord Draco in Xena Warrior Princess.
Cena, you look good.
And Lagaya is a supremely talented singer as well, appearing in many Australian stage productions like here in Wicked.
'Cause it feels
I was surprised at how many people are actually singers.
wonderful. Hey, look who's wonderful. This cornfed hig.
And he also performed in The Lion King too, of which he played Mufasa. Yeah, I bet you didn't realise Star Wars had 2 Mufasas in it, huh? What? A lot of songs for children, and you can bet your ass I'm going to play his Christmas album this year.
Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. A jingle bell swing and jingle bell ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun.
Lady, I'm so sorry. I failed you, Senator.
Playing the, late handmaiden Corday is Mexican actress and writer Veronica Segura. Segura has had minor roles in films and TV. Here she is in the comedy slasher flick Club Dread, acting alongside Bill Paxton.
Well, hey, how about the grand tour?
Yeah, sure.
Right this way.
Also from 2006 to 2008, she wrote columns for the Mexican edition of Playboy.
You really think that's a wise decision under these stressful times?
American actor Jimmy Smits.
Oh, yeah.
As Bail Organa. Smits has had a lush television career. His very first role was in the pilot episode of Miami Vice.
Huh.
Just the pilot episode. Quick tip, stay clear of Jimmy Smits. He has a habit of getting unexpectedly blown up.
Good early movie of his is The Believers with Martin Sheen.
In shows like LA Law and NYPD Blue.
Police!
And Sons of Anarchy later on.
Oh, and back in 1989, he played the role of a repairman on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Is that a wrench in your
Ah.
closet?
It's a wrench. Thank you very much, Miss Yvonne.
Or you know.
Take a deep breath. I haven't seen her in 10 years, Master.
So grown-up Anakin is played by Canadian actor Hayden Christensen. Now, Christensen got his acting start in commercials, advertising everything from cough syrup to cereal.
Let's do it.
Breakfast isn't breakfast without...
Snap, crackle, crack, Rice Krispies.
Then he transitioned
Commercials are a good place to start.
TV shows with appearances in Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps, of which he gets transformed into a puppet.
So, Steve, did you hear the one about the 3 kids that tried to outsmart that dummy? No, Sloppy. Tell me all about it.
Ironically, this would only rank second in Hayden Christensen's most wooden performances. okay, sorry.
He was also in John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness.
Christensen is not a bad actor, and you only need to look outside of his Star Wars career to see that. In between episodes 2 and 3, he was praised for his performance in the 2003 biographical drama film Shattered Glass.
There are 16,800 magazines in this country, but only one calls itself the In-Flight Magazine of Air Force One. And that's the thrill of working at the New Republic.
And after Star Wars, he went on to do many more films, none of which were particularly successful. He reunited with Samuel L. Jackson for 2008's Jumper. He acted alongside Nicolas Cage in the 2014 American-Chinese production of Outcast. And most recently, he acted alongside Harvey Keitel in the sci-fi film The Last Man. Oh, and in 2018, he took part in a charity football match.
He was also in a Jesus-exploitation film called 90 Minutes in Heaven a few years ago.
Christensen way over!
Well, not like that, you wouldn't.
I may have to kill myself.
I hit the ship, but they used a decoy.
So Zam Wissell is played by Australian actress Lyanna Waltzman. Waltzman got the role when casting director Robin Gurland saw her perform in a play. And that play also happened to star actress Ros Byrne. And I'll talk about her next. Outside of Star Wars, Waltzman has done lots of TV show work. Here she is in the Australian prison drama Wentworth.
Yeah, I know. They don't want to hear about rehabilitation and what it costs. They want to know that the criminals are locked up and they can sleep safely at night. So I am selling it to them as money well spent to ensure their safety when the women are released.
And in 2004, she got a starring role in the TV miniseries Jessica, acting alongside Alan Grant himself, Sam Neill.
And you say that if I sign and agree to give up Joey, then it's forever.
I'd rather stay in here than sign.
You alright, my lady?
So yes, we have the now well-known Ros Byrne playing the handmaiden Dorme. You'll know Byrne for her wealth of film roles. Bridesmaids, Neighbours, Insidious, X-Men, the list goes on.
Yeah.
But what about her roles pre-Star Wars? Well, her very first acting gig was in the 1994 Australian drama Dallas Doll.
It's exactly the right astrological conditions for a UFO to land. It's gonna happen. I know it.
Another one of her early roles was in the comedy crime film Two Hands, starring alongside the Joker himself, Heath Ledger.
Ah.
Bites.
Yeah.
I'll have your own.
Yeah. Better than hang around assholes.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ledger, he was actually one of the actors in the running to play adult Anakin in the prequels.
I can see it.
I actually think that would have been a great choice. I can totally see that. So these two alien motorists here are voiced by General Grievous himself, Matthew Wood. I talked about Wood in my Phantom Menace video. This guy's voice knows no bounds.
You wanna buy some death sticks?
I want to sell your death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Funny scene in the movie.
Australian actor Matt Duran plays the death stick dealer, Elan Sleaze Bagano. Yeah, seriously, that's his name.
Definitely a
Most
Lucas
recently,
name.
Duran had a starring role in an Australian thriller section.
Your thirst for money is insatiable.
And I did what she said. I'm his sister's getting a visa. I'm not getting any of his company. No, you can let Josh go.
Though you'll definitely know Duran best as Mouse from The Matrix.
To deny our own impulses
Huh.
is to deny the very thing that makes us human.
Whoa.
And speaking of The Matrix... See this woman checking out Anakin? That is actress Fiona Johnson, who you might know better as the lady in the red dress.
The thing will fight to protect it.
So yeah, in this nightclub scene is both Mouse
Both a blink
and
and miss
the
it
woman he
moment.
designed. There's a theory there somewhere. Matt Pat, Super Cowley Brothers, any theory channel out there? Go nuts.
Wait.
So we have a few more notable cameos in this scene I want to rush through. Recognize this patron? This is of course C-3PO himself and
I thought that was him.
Flesh.
There is one thing worse than working with me, it's being an extra in a Star Wars movie, okay?
And in this shot we have Jar Binks actor Ahmed Best on the right, and on the left is daughter of George Lucas, Katie, as this purple Twi'lek.
This Jedi walks by and ruins my action.
Her sister Amanda also shows up in this scene, right here. And there is another child of George Lucas that appears in the film, but I'll talk about him in my episode 3 video.
George loves to cast his kids.
So this is interesting. This droid, known as Flo, is voiced by Australian actress Susie Porter.
Flo.
Now you see this lady sat next to Dex. Believe it or not, that is Susie Porter in the flesh. Yeah, she voices the droid in this scene, but she's also here in a live-action capacity. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Apparently this scene was shot twice, with Porter performing her lines in live action and in a voiceover booth. And then they decided to go the droid route for the final edit. Anyway, Porter has had many film and television roles. Like Waltzman, she also starred in Wentworth, but many seasons after Waltzman left.
Shit, lawyers. Don't do anything to aggravate your sentence. Keep your dumb. Where did that get me? Well, now people are gonna pay.
And she starred in a few raunchier titles in her time, like the 2000 Aussie rom-com Better Than Sex, where she has a one-night stand with RMA himself, David Wenham.
So London must be an exciting place to live.
Yeah, apart from the cold, the rain, the filth, huge cost of everything. Oh, and the English, no. It's a great place to live.
What you got here is a Camino Saber Dart.
Playing Dexter Jetster is Australian actor Ronald Falk.
Hey, oh, buddy!
Miracles of CGI.
Falk is sadly no longer with us, but he was a prolific stage actor with a few on-screen roles in his time, like here in the Guy Pearce-led Aussie crime series, Jack Irish.
I thought I should drop something, man.
I hate to say it, but it looks like the system you're searching for doesn't exist.
Another Australian actor who unfortunately passed away is actress Alethia McGrath, playing Jedi Master Jocasta Nu. Now, according to McGrath, it was originally planned that Nu was going to be written as a former lover of Count Dooku, though this idea got scrapped for the movie's release. Anyway,
Long
back in
enough
the
as it
late
is.
80s, early 90s, McGrath had the occasional stint in the Australian soap Neighbours.
Yeah, look, love, I think you're making some kind of mistake. I mean, I haven't been near the clothesline since I got here.
Fiddlesticks, and don't you love me, pervert?
And more recently, she starred in films like Inspector Gadget 2,
Ma'am, do you know that drag racing on public roads is legal?
But officer,
There are no buts when it comes to the law.
and her last role was alongside Nicolas Cage in Knowing.
I knew something had frightened the poor dear, but we never could get her to tell us what it was.
Hey, you. No droids. Get out of here.
Droidism.
Yet another actor no longer with us is Kiwi Ian Watkin, providing the voice of the food server droid here. Now, Watkin was originally planned to appear in live action here, but much like the situation with Susie Porter, George Lucas opted for a droid server instead. Now, outside of Star Wars, Watkin had various acting roles. Here he is in one of Peter Jackson's early works, 1992's Brain Dead. And my lord, I gotta be careful with what I show here, because this film, like many of Jackson's pre-Lord of the Rings works, is gory.
And awesome.
Master? Because someone erased it from the archive memory.
So remember in my episode 1 video where I talked about that Naboo star pilot that gets killed being played by Photoshop code creator and visual effects whiz John Knoll? Yeah, well, this kid is his son, Alex Knoll. Literally the only other thing I can find out about Alex, though, is that he voiced this dog wizard character in Politicats, one of the animated shows Smosh did on their Shut Up Cartoons channel. Random, I know.
There's lots of
Never heard of it.
I'm the only one that's also a wizard.
Do you see any way through negotiations to bring the Separatists back into the Republic?
Playing Queen Jamelia is British Indian actress Aisha Dhaka. Dhaka received great acclaim for her role as a young woman brainwashed into contemplating becoming a suicide bomber in the 1997 Tamil film The Terrorist. She's also done work with the Royal Shakespeare Company and has appeared in many British television shows like Holby City, Doctor Who, and Coronation Street.
I gave you chance after chance to come clean. No more secrets. Ring any bells.
After all these years, we would be thinking you were coming.
Playing the Kaminoan Torn Way is New Zealand actress Reina Owen, who actually was there on set wearing a face on her head. Makes sense, you gotta make sure McGregor's eyeline is correct, but credit to the actors for keeping a straight face.
That'd be hard.
Anyway, Owen has appeared in many movies and shows. Here she is alongside Vin Diesel in The Last Witch Hunter.
The laws serve to control and contain magic. It is only by the operations of this council that another war does not begin.
But her most famous role was in the 1994 film Once Were Warriors, directed by Die Another Day director Lee Tamahori.
I wasn't here when Grace needed me. This time I'm gonna do the right thing by her. And you're not gonna stop me.
This movie was a huge hit in New Zealand, and also happened to star Jango Fett himself, Tamira Morrison. I'll be talking about him very soon.
Please tell your master, Cypher DS, that his order will be met on time.
Lama Sue is voiced by Australian actor Anthony Phelan. Like many Aussie actors, Phelan had a stint in Home and Away. In it, he gets crushed to death by a car, but he later comes back to life to walk his daughter down the aisle. Awfully nice of God to resurrect him like that.
Didn't think I was going to miss my beautiful girl's wedding, did you?
He also played this priest in the Angelina Jolie directed film Unbroken.
Love, thy enemy.
And here he is in the TV series The Gloaming, which also happened to star his fellow Kaminoan, Reina Owen. Lama Sue and Tonway back together in the flesh.
It's always about your self-interest.
Watch your mouth! We're in this mess because of you and your temper. How do you think Grace feels having you in this house?
They are totally obedient, taking any order without question.
So for the longest time, I always assumed these clones were played by Tamira Morrison, when in fact, these particular ones are played by fellow Kiwi, Bodhi Taylor. Taylor has only 2 roles outside of Star Wars. Here he is in the 2003 film The Legend of Johnny Lingo, playing the role of Pwa.
The women have gone mad over this Johnny Lingo. I hope it blows them their own rocket. Bye.
But more recently, Taylor started his own YouTube channel where he documented the making of a Taihan, a traditional Maori staff weapon.
Basically, it's very hard wood and very interesting to carve.
Dad, Don Wee's here.
Playing the young Boba Fett is Kiwi actor Daniel Logan.
Kiwi,
now,
Kiwi,
what's
Kiwi.
interesting about Logan is that he has a previous link to fellow clone actor Bodhi Taylor, for he too was in The Legend of Johnny Lingo, playing the younger version of Taylor's character.
Huh. Does it make sense?
Yeah, these two have played differently aged versions of each other on 2 different occasions. Whether that's a huge coincidence or not, I haven't been able to find out. Now, Logan had acted prior to Star Wars. Here he is in an episode of Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, as a sort
Another
of demonic illusion with
Hercules Xena callback.
hasn't aged too well.
90s.
And post-Attack of the Clones, he reprised the role of Boba in the animated Clone Wars show.
We're all in it together, right? Thanks. But I can handle myself.
And he's continued acting still. But you might find his cameo in Sharknado 4 interesting, for he plays the role of, get this, Captain Fett.
The post didn't work!
Of course Sharknado would do that.
And it's headed straight toward Vegas!
They'll do their job well. I'll guarantee that.
So yeah, New Zealand actor Tamira Morrison plays Jango Fett. Morrison has been in a load of stuff. You might know him as Aquaman's dad.
Yeah. He was great at that.
That's my superpower.
He also played Moana's dad.
Huh.
I know. But you don't go out there. It's dangerous.
And remember that alien that gives Ryan Reynolds the ring in Green Lantern? I was personally surprised to find out that was Morrison.
The ring. It chose you. Take it. Place the ring in the lantern.
Morrison is also good friends with Jay Lagaya. He was best man at his wedding after all. And like Lagaya, Morrison also loves to sing. In 2014, he released a cover album called 10.
Speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
Also, it's definitely worth noting Jango Fett's stunt double, Scott McClane. And this story might ring a bell for some of you. You see, in the early 2010s, McClane was doing stunts for the second installment in the Hangover series. And he very almost died when performing a dangerous stunt on the streets of Bangkok. It was a massive controversy, and he took the filmmakers to court for the working conditions they put him under. Though I'm pleased to report, he recovered. But I think this here is a good reminder of how dangerous
Good for him.
this job can be at times.
I guess I'm your stepbrother. I had a feeling you might show up someday.
So here we have another well-known actor who wasn't particularly famous at the time of filming. This is, of course, Australian actor Joel Edgerton playing the young Owen Lars.
I knew this guy went on to something big.
More films than I can count. The Great Gatsby, Zero Dark 30, Black Mass, and Bright.
The Gift, I think.
Since I was a little kid, I have nothing else. My badge is part of me in the air I breathe.
And in 2015, he directed and starred in the psychological thriller The Gift.
Yep.
Are you gonna tell her, or should I?
Also worth noting that Joel Edgerton's brother, Nash Edgerton, worked as Ewan McGregor's stunt double for episodes 2 and 3.
This is
Cool.
my girlfriend, Baru.
Hello.
And playing the young Baru is fellow Australian Bonnie Peace. Peace has acted in many films and shows. She made her debut as a trapeze artist on the Australian kids show High Flyers.
The guy. Who is he? You've got to pick him for your stooge. He's so cute. Are we sort of way?
And this is crazy. In 2017, she, along with her husband, became a whistleblower of a sex trafficking cult called Nixon. There was an HBO documentary all about this. In 2020, their founder, Keith Rainier, got sentenced to 120 years.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And his associate, Smallville actress Alison Mack, got jail time too. But back to
Not a
Bonnie,
lot,
for
though.
She's also an avid singer/songwriter. Here's a track from her most recent EP, Found.
They need better songwriters.
After I lost my leg, I just couldn't ride anymore. Until I healed.
Australian actor Jack Thompson plays Klieg Lars. Now, outside of Australia, Thompson's not that well known, but he's a big name down under, coming to prominence during the Australian New Wave era in films like Sunday Too Far Away and The Man from Snowy River, where he acted alongside Kirk Douglas.
You should advertise this stuff in the book. The new miracle cure for appetite.
You'd think I was going to leave you a share of the mine.
Thompson, though, could have become a big name internationally when he met up with Steven Spielberg and actually filmed screen tests for the role of Oscar Schindler in Schindler's List. But at the last minute, Spielberg had a change of heart and opted instead to cast fellow Star Wars actor Liam Neeson.
But for Star Wars.
I explained to you earlier, I am quite convinced that 10,000 more systems will rally to our cause with your support, gentlemen.
The absolute legend, that is the late Sir Christopher Lee, plays Count Dooku. Where do I begin?
Dracula?
Lord Royal, Saruman. You know what this guy's done, so let me tell you what you might not know about him. Prior to becoming an actor, he served in the Royal Air Force during the Second World War. In 1962, Ian Fleming, the author of the James Bond books, actually offered him the role of the villainous Dr. No, and he accepted. Though the film's producers had other ideas, so he missed out, and had to wait another 12 years before he got his shot at another Bond villain, Scaramanga, in The Man with the Golden Gun. Now you know the classic spoof comedy Airplane? Lee turned down a role in that movie, and that role instead went to Leslie Nielsen.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Classic.
We call that decision a big mistake. Though, to be fair, it's hard to imagine anyone but Nielsen playing that role. Another mistake Lee made was unknowingly choosing to star in a softcore porn film. It was Eugenie, and he plays the role of a narrator, only appearing in scenes where everyone has their clothes on.
For no voice save that of the passions can bring you to complete happiness.
Now, I can't continue without talking about Lee's music career, for he found a hell of a passion for symphonic heavy metal.
I shed blood of Saxon men. I shed the blood of the Saxon men. I shed the blood of the Saxon men. I shed the blood of the Saxon men.
And once I'm done chilling out to jail like Gaia, you can bet your ass I'm going to be rocking to Jingle Hell.
Man could do it all. Fucking legend.
The Techno-Union Army is at your disposal, Count.
English-born Australian actor Christopher Truswell I have to thank, for he's made my job very easy here. He voices every single bloody alien in this scene and then some. Here is all the roles he plays.
Their banking plan will sign your treaty.
We must get the starships back into space. It is at your disposal, Count.
Probably self-made by a warrior, not associated with any known society.
That is all the same guy. That's
The Mel
incredible.
Blanc of Star Wars, I guess.
Star Wars, Truswell was best known for his role on the Australian sitcom Hey Dad.
Actually, it's got a lot better lately.
Pleased to hear it.
Oh, last weekend he tried to strangle me twice. No, he laughs when he doesn't.
And he's a talented singer too. You might be interested to know he played Elwood in a stage production of The Blues Brothers.
That's just bizarre.
The Federation is to take delivery of a droid army here. And it is clear that Viceroy Gunray is behind the assassination attempts on Senator Amidala.
So you might wonder why I'm going to focus on some random extra here, but bear with me. This senator stood next to Jar Jar here, is played by Australian actress Nicole Kidman. Now, if you've played Final Fantasy XII, I've got a quick game for you. Listen to Kidman's voice in the film Queen of the Damned and see if you can pinpoint who she plays in that game. Take a listen.
So this is Lestat's house? Are you hungry for something else? Don't you want to have some fun?
Don't do that. Okay, brownie points if you got it, because she plays the role of Fran.
You've let your eyes betray your heart.
Yeah, kind of interesting we have here an actor who's bridged the gap between Star Wars and Final Fantasy, given the Biggs and Wedge references they've done over the years. Playing this alien is Australian makeup and visual effects artist Stephen Boyle. And I am shocked about this find, for I have googled the shit out of it, and I haven't heard anyone else mention it. So I'm totally taking credit for this. Boyle's line in the film is back to front. Watch what happens when you play it in reverse. right? Anyway, this is Boyle's only time in front of the camera, for his focus is on creature design and makeup visual effects. He's worked as a makeup effects technician on films like The Matrix Revolutions, King Kong, and many, many more productions.
This is a crisis. The Senate must vote the Chancellor emergency powers.
So, I already talked about this Senate speaker in my episode 1 video, where he was played by Jerome St. John Blake. But in some scenes such as this in episode 2, he's played by a different person. This right here is Australian actor David Bowers, who's had bit roles in various films and shows. For example, here he is in The Matrix Revolutions.
Anyway, you're getting through this door.
Everything's coming full circle to the Matrix.
Okay, so this
That guy always
has
made me
been
laugh.
extremely confusing to research, as there's a lot of conflicting information on the internet as to who even plays the Geonosian leader, Hoggle the Lesson here. Because according to IMDb, he's played by Martin Chokas, who you might know better as Dr. Kafka in Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Celeborn in The Lord of the Rings.
Tell me, where is Gandalf? For I much desire to speak with him.
However, as I found out, Chokas simply was there on set speaking the lines, you know, for reference for the VFX and ADR work in post. But even that info was weird, because I then found out about an actor called Richard Stride, and there's many sources that say that he mocapped for Hoggle. So perhaps these two split the work between them? Unfortunately, I can't confirm. His voice actor, however, is a bit more certain. This scrambled vocal track you can see Ben Burt playing around with here. Yeah, that's the voice of Ernie Vaselias, who's best known for directing the very first Star Wars parody, 1978's Hardware Wars.
Oh.
I'll be alright, don't worry about me.
That's an old classic.
See you later, you warrior.
Now, Ben Burt seems to fall back on Vaselias from time to time, for he provided the voice of those Chinese pilots in the Temple of Doom. And remember that guy upset over the death of the Rancor? The sound of him sobbing is not his voice, it's that of Vaselias.
He loved that Rancor.
Okay, so there's a ton of people to talk about here, and I can't possibly mention everyone. Not that there'd be any reason to, as a lot of these performers aren't very well known, and for many, Star Wars Episode 2 is their only credit, and many of these actors are simply uncredited, so I have no way of knowing who some of these guys are. But let's rush through everyone who I can find out at least something about. Let's go. Ayla Secura, played by Amy Allen. She worked as one of Ireland's production assistants, and also cameos in the night scene as a set of triplets. Plo Koon, played by Matt Sloan.
I didn't action figure that guy.
Kit Fisto and Stacey T, played by Zachariah Jensen and Jesse Jensen. Lumping these two together because they are brothers who worked as set carpenters on the movie. Luminara Unduli, played by Mary Oyaya. Born in Kenya and did a lot of commercial and modelling work in Australia. Baris Offey, played by Nalini Krishan, a Fiji-born actress who does occasional acting work in Australia and in Bollywood. Agan Kolar, played by Tux Akindayeni, a practitioner of the Chinese martial arts, Li Hui Bafa. Definitely butchering that one. Tux now
I
works
butcher
as
names all the time. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
of a security company in Sydney. Bultan Swan, played by Mimi Garafay. She was doing a degree in architecture when she filmed this and graduated a year later. Nick Anastasiou and Seth Jet Josal, played by Nick Anastasiou and Joseph Jet Sally. These guys worked on the film as editors. Represent Kat Keane, played by Zariah Hamilton. Zariah was a department coordinator on the film and now owns a cocktail bar and restaurant on the Gold Coast in Australia.
When in doubt, go to the bar.
Now this guy worked as Christopher Lee's stunt double during his fight scenes. He also stands in for General Grievous in the next movie, where he wears a green screen suit, and he works to choreograph the fight scenes themselves. In fact, the man himself teaches a lightsaber course at the National Institute of Dramatic Art in Sydney. Holy shit, I want to do that course.
That sounds awesome.
Del Masona, played by Leonard L. Thomas. Now this guy's a prominent actor. Here he is reuniting with Samuel L. Jackson in the movie Black Snake Moan.
You think I want to hurt you, lass? I'll take a bullet for you.
Would you now?
And last but not least, let's talk about Shak T, who is played by Israeli actress and model Shoshan, a former member of the Israeli Defense Forces, much like actress Gal Gadot actually. Shoshan went on to have a successful modelling career in Australia, making appearances in the Australian version of Wheels of Fortune where she presented prizes. She then went on to design her own fashion line for women's sportswear and lingerie, and more recently she worked in interior design and as a real estate agent. Now there's definitely more actors in this scene, but information on everyone else is
might drag a little after this.
Or non-existent. So let's move on. Right after I address this bombshell, apparently George Lucas's daughters, Katie and Amanda, were big fans of the boy band NSYNC. So as a treat for them, George arranged it so that 3 members of the band, JC, Chris and Joey, filmed cameos for this movie. They were set to appear in the Geonosis battle scene as Jedi. Now, for whatever reason, they didn't make the final cut. Those Star Wars fans and NSYNC fans, that's an extremely narrow demographic you're appealing to there. So I guess maybe they thought there'd be too much backlash from pissy Star Wars fans. Though it is crazy to think that within the Lucasfilm vault somewhere lies footage of NSYNC as Jedis.
Must be harder to find than the holiday special.
Hashtag release the NSYNC cut.
We must get the starships back into space.
So the Neimoidian Rune Harko was played by Jerome St. John Blake and voiced by James Taylor in episode 1. But in episode 2, he's voiced by the previously mentioned Christopher Truswell, but the man inside the mask is British actor Alan Rusco. Rusco does a lot of acting work, specialising in playing many aliens and monsters in films and shows like The Fifth Element and Doctor Who. So there we go, that's every actor of note in Star Wars Episode 2. Definitely want to keep this series going, so let me know in the comments what movie you think I should cover next. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, and here's some links if you want to see more from me. Take care.
There I am. I'll say, it was once again very interesting, pretty cool watch, bit of a learning experience. I do think the part where he lists all the actors playing the Jedis, that part did, I feel, drag a little bit, but other than that, it was once again fun to watch and go through. The standout moments for me included the older Jedi woman in the library, when he pointed out that she was the old woman arrested at the beginning of Inspector Gadget 2. A pretty bad direct-to-video sequel, but I remember watching the shit out of that when I was a little kid, because too young to know any better. And part about the NSYNC stuff, that is a what the fuck a worthy fact, and I guess just shows George Lucas really loves his kids, regardless if they're only adopted kids. And I loved hearing him give a little shout out to the career of Jimmy Smits. Had a long, pretty interesting career in television. And Hayden Christensen, it was interesting to see where he started out as a young kid with the commercials. I do wish he maybe had highlighted, like I mentioned, one of his earliest roles was a kid on a bike who interacts again with Sam Neill in John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. It's a brief scene, but when you know it's him, it kind of sticks out to you. I thought it was funny every time he talked about the New Zealanders, and he kept referring to them as Kiwis over and over. I mean, I know that's what they're called, but I thought there should be a drinking game to take a shot every time the suspect says Kiwi, but I think you might be dead by the end of the video. And I thought it was very cool when he showed how a lot of the CGI characters, like the robo-waitress, the fat mustachioed guy in the diner, how they shot them all with the live actors, then put the CGI in later. I mean, I know they usually do that in those cases, but it's interesting to see how they weren't even wearing the green screen suits, and it seems like it might have been an afterthought decision. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and it's funny when he showed where the sperm-shaped aliens, how they had to wear the heads on a hat. And yeah, I'm with them. I'm like, props for keeping a straight face, and it was funny how so many of these fucking people were singers, and the only one that I was really happy to see a clip of their singing was Christopher Lee, because man, that guy had one amazing fucking career. Outside of everything he just listed, and yeah, just I enjoyed this in the same way I enjoyed the first one. It kept me interested, aside from the multiple Jedi listings, but again, I think dragged a little. It was pretty cool. The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. I think the Attack of the Clones is the lesser, if you had to pick between those two. I know they often are called the worst of the prequels, but Phantom Menace, I feel, has a little more redeeming qualities than Attack of the Clones, which for a while was the only Star Wars film I saw in theaters. It was the only prequel I saw in theaters as a little kid. Although, I will say, and I've mentioned this in previous videos about Star Wars, after Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, I would gladly binge watch all 3 of the prequels than watch that piece of shit again. But maybe that's just me. Anyway, this was a fun watch. Hopefully you enjoyed my reaction. Joel Edgerton, yeah, went on to be a pretty successful actor and knows how to make a pretty damn good thriller. And The Suspect, a lot of fun. I saw that there was a comment he left on the video saying that he might do one of these for Home Alone, and that could be interesting. There's a lot of faces there that either went on to do stuff or had fun careers before Home Alone, so we'll see what happens, see if he can squeeze one out before the holiday season ends, and I think I rambled on pretty much enough. See you later.